turn it over to Jirka, who's patiently waiting in the office to give the live demo.
So as Alfred already mentioned, we are actually integrating our configurator into WordPress site, actually running a WooCommerce solution, which is kind of a plugin to WooCommerce where you handle your products and you can sell stuff. So we did that, and this is the resulting page. This is actually the productive site, which we have updated with our configurator with the first production release, I guess 2 weeks ago. Apart from the configurator itself, we have done, actually Robin did, several significant changes to the site itself because there were some UX issues. For example, here are some tiles of products, and they were not actually visible because if you open the page, this carousel took the whole space, and people didn't really know that there are some products within that. So Robin made it partially visible. He also changed the layout a little bit and introduced these nice on hover tooltips where you can actually see the price of that piece, which wasn't possible earlier. You didn't even see the name. In addition to that, you can see that this tooltip is actually showing an icon which says that this product is customizable, and that's where our full stack work begins. This is a product page, a standard product page that they already had with a lot of photos, which they look nice. Basically, there is this product. You can change the color and you can add it to the cart. What we added is this customize button. And if I hit the customize button, I will open our configurator. So now we are actually running a React application on top of WordPress, directly injected into the WordPress site. As you can see, we have taken over the color from the color selector. The integration itself was done through a WordPress plugin, which basically injects some scripts and styles into the site. We host those scripts and the styles on our own server on Heroku actually. So we just reference everything and pull it here and instantiate the React application while we communicate with our own backend. Well, as you can see, this is a nice preview of the furniture. It's fully 3D. You can zoom in, you can rotate, you can reset camera and all the stuff that you know already from the Configurator SDK. You can change the colors, like lightly update, and you can also change dimensions. See, the model reflects your changes. You see here prices being added and removed based on where you move your slider. There are some limits to those sizes. Basically, the upper limits are given by the strength of the material. So if it would be a bit longer, it could bend or break. And also by the size of the plate of plywood from which it is made, of course, because we cannot make anything bigger than the source plate. We can specify the dimensions either by dragging the slider or by specifying it with your keyboard. The other dimensions, the lower limits are based on whether they can fit bookends. Bookend is something which you can use to split your books into multiple shelves. So you have those bookends. You see how they are just connected to the actual piece. So now we can let's make a shoe cabinet out of this piece of furniture which is usually used for books. So we make it wide, we make it slow and shallow, and we add some bookends here, so the shoes have their own compartments. And we can also check how that looks when you disassemble the furniture. This is actually a feature which we developed basically for debugging, because we needed to know how those parts look like. But after adding a simple animation, it looks pretty cool, and I really like how that works. There were some technical issues regarding these models. On on the front end side, it was basically the performance, because even though this is pretty simple, Honza Bartunia created some very advanced shadows which were consuming a lot of power, and we were not able to run the configurator on very low end devices. So what he did, he actually used a detection of the capabilities of the device. So in powerful machines, you will have a much nicer shadow than I have currently, because I'm running on my Ubuntu laptop, which is kind of detected as a low-end model. So I'm getting only some so-called contact shadows beneath the furniture. But I guess I actually like it more than the advanced shadows, I have to say. So I guess you saw everything. There's one more button which I skipped, which is sharing. So you can actually copy a link and paste it to, or send it to a friend, and the friend just opens the link and gets the same piece of furniture, exactly the same angle and the same zoom as you defined it. So by the way, this whole parametric stuff is done in JavaScript. So we have a very simple piece of code which generates the shapes. So whenever you move those sliders, the code gets invoked and generates shapes for those parts, and then those parts are being assembled by specifying position and rotations of those plates. So it's all JavaScript. Let's add this to cart now, which is basically our last step. So I've added this piece of the cart, and I can go to that cart and see how that looks like. Okay, so that's basically it. We are on the checkout page, which didn't change much, even though Robin improved it a lot, because there were some things which were confusing, like buttons looking like labels and buttons having labels aside each other, so it was kind of weird, but no major change here. And then one last thing I want to mention about this particular stage is how we deploy it. And thanks to Janko's hard work, we have a WordPress instance spinning up for every PR application, and we are pushing automatically references to our own server from where we are actually pulling the scripts and the styles and everything, and where the API runs. So it's seamless. And we also deploy to staging and to production by releasing on GitHub. If we release a beta release, it goes to staging, and if we release a normal release, it goes to production. So that works really nice. And releasing with this product is pretty simple and straightforward. So that's basically what we have done in the last cycle, and now a little glimpse of what we are going to do next. We have already started, but the Figma prototype is still the best place to explain things. So this is a manufacturing dashboard for the client. So if there are some orders coming from his side, these orders will be collected here. He can process them. He can select which of the pieces will be manufactured, and then he goes and he sees how those parts from the orders are nested on plates. You know, this yellow rectangle here is actually this is actually the plate from which the parts are going to be cut. So this is something you put on the CNC machine. CNC machine does all the cutting and extracts those parts from that. So we plan to have this fully automated until here, and then the only thing is that we send this drawing, which will generate to specialized software that they already have, where two parts are assigned, so the drill knows how deep it should go and what it should cut. Basically, the biggest added value of this one is reduction of a lot of manual work, especially with customized items, because for customized items, they always needed to redraw everything by hand in AutoCAD or somewhere, and then send it to production. So we'll be doing this step for them. So every time there is a custom piece, we will generate custom sized parts here. Yeah, and thanks, Robin, for designing this splendid Figma prototype. I guess that's everything I wanted to say.